So, today we're tackling a silent struggle that, let's be honest, pretty much all of us face in the modern world. We're talking about mastering your own focus. I mean, if you've ever felt like your brain is just bouncing off the walls, totally unable to pin down your attention long enough to get any meaningful work done, you are in the exact right place. We're going to dive into a super powerful story that'll completely reframe how you control your mind. So, is your mind a wild horse? Just think about that for a quick second. We live in this crazy world of endless distraction, right? Constant notifications pinging, endless social feeds, literally a million things competing for our attention every single second of the day. Sitting down to just read a book can seriously feel like trying to tame a wild animal. To figure out how to conquer this, we're exploring a really profound story from the Lifetime and Compass about a young guy who faced this exact same overwhelming battle. Part 1. The Wild Horse Mind and the Problem of Distraction. Meet Kabir. He was this undeniably smart young kid from a small village, but his mind constantly jumped from thought to thought like a restless bird. Every single time Kabir tried to sit down and actually do important work, boom, his focus would immediately derail. He'd sit down to study, and suddenly his mind drifts to a video game, then over to his phone, then to wondering what his friends were up to. And look, it wasn't a lack of intelligence at all. It was just that his potential was getting constantly hijacked by whatever shiny new thought popped into his head. This actually brings us to a really powerful kind of stark warning from Kabir's father. He told him, "Son, your mind is like a wild horse. If you do not control it, it will take you in the wrong direction." His dad understood the stakes perfectly. A disciplined mind can take you literally anywhere, but a wild one, it's going to drag you way off course. But Kabir, kind of like a lot of us when we get good advice, just sort of brushed it off at first. Which brings us to part 2. Guruji's glass of water and meeting the mentor. So Kabir's father realized that just giving warnings wasn't cutting it. He needed a real intervention. So he took Kabir to meet Guruji, this wise older teacher who was actually famous for training young people to achieve extraordinary success. So Guruji, he just smiles. He doesn't give this long, drawn-out lecture or anything like that. Instead, he simply hands Kabir a small glass of water, filled right up to the absolute brim. Then he gives him a challenge. He says, "Hold this glass and do not spill a single drop while walking around my garden." On the surface, sounds like the absolute easiest task in the world, right? Well, Guruji's garden is totally alive. As soon as Kabir starts walking, this huge wave of sensory details just hits him. You've got birds chirping in the trees, the wind rustling the leaves, kids laughing somewhere nearby. And remember, Kabir's mind is like that restless bird. Every single time he glanced over at the laughing kids or looked up at the branches, the water sloshed. By the time he made it back to Guruji, he had totally failed. Half the glass was completely empty. He just admitted, "I got distracted." Now, what's really interesting here is how Guruji unpacks this whole metaphor for him. This is really the turning point of the explainer. The glass, that represents your ultimate goal in life. The water inside it is your focus. And the noise out there in the garden, the birds, the laughter, all of it, those are the worldly distractions surrounding us every single day. Guruji delivers this hard truth. If you don't discipline your mind to stay fixed on your purpose, you're going to spill your focus and you'll lose everything before you even realize it's gone. Moving right along to section 3, building the focus habit and taking action. That metaphor completely broke through to him. Kabir finally realized his lack of focus wasn't just a cute quirk. It was literally draining his potential, drop by drop. He didn't just feel inspired. He actually committed to taking action and making deliberate changes to train his wandering mind. Notice how none of these steps are earth-shattering on their own, but when you put them together, they form this ironclad system. First off, he built a solid routine by waking up at the exact same time every single day. Second, he actively limited his phone use, cutting off that massive source of digital noise. And third, he started practicing daily meditation every morning, just training his mind to sit still, to be calm, and to stay steady. But let's be super clear about something absolutely crucial here. Progress is messy. At first, it was incredibly difficult for him. That wild horse still wanted to run wild. But true discipline wasn't about having this perfectly blank, empty mind. It was the simple act of noticing the distraction and pulling his attention right back to the task, again and again and again. Every single time he started to drift, he just pulled those reins back in. And this brilliantly illustrates the compounding effect of discipline. As days turned into weeks, Kabir felt this huge physical and mental shift. He wasn't spilling his focus anymore. His memory improved dramatically. He was actually retaining what he studied, and his grades absolutely skyrocketed. His natural intelligence was finally getting a chance to shine because it wasn't clouded by all that noise anymore. Part 4, the ultimate competition and putting focus to the test. Let's fast forward about a year. A massive national competition gets announced, featuring these highly complex problems that have to be solved under a super strict time limit. This was it, the ultimate test, a high-pressure environment just packed with noise and anxiety, and Kabir decides to enter. Okay, so this is exactly where all that training pays off. The questions were incredibly tricky. The other students, the ones with untrained minds, they completely panicked. All that pressure just became a massive distraction for them. But Kabir, he stayed entirely calm. Channeling Guruji's listen with the glass of water, he totally blocked out the panic in the room, ignored the ticking clock, and just focused on exactly one question at a time. Total, calm focus. No spilling. And the results? No way, right? When the scores actually came in, Kabir was declared the absolute winner of the entire national competition. Guruji smiled with just immense pride. Kabir had completely transformed from this kid who couldn't focus on a single book to the young man who mastered his mind under the highest pressure imaginable. Section 5, Master Your Own Mind, and the core lesson. So the crucial point is really what we take away from Kabir's journey. It's a fantastic story for sure, but it's really meant to be a mirror for our own lives, hammering home this fundamental truth about what separates the people who achieve their goals from the ones who just dream about them. You know, we so often obsess over things like raw talent, luck, and intelligence. Kabir was super smart early on, sure, but it didn't do him any good until he built that discipline. This story proves that a disciplined mind is vastly stronger than talent or luck alone. Talent just gets wasted by distraction. Luck, totally unpredictable. But discipline, that is the actual engine that drives you to your destination. Which brings us to this incredibly powerful takeaway. Your next chapter of success begins the exact moment you decide to discipline your mind. Not when you get smarter, not when you catch a lucky break. It begins with the decision to actually put the phone down, pull your attention back, and protect the water in your glass. So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought to really ponder today. When will your next chapter begin? Are you going to keep letting all the noise of the garden spill your focus? Or are you ready to finally take the reins, tame that wild horse, and start mastering your own mind? The choice is entirely up to you. In the next one.